There was a lot going on in Punksacola this summer. Summer is hot and it's fire. It started with an excellent PensaPride celebration in June where we hosted some incredible acoustic musicians and poets. Then to our artist in residence, Jamal STEELE, a full July with Mark Gubb of Wales, who produced and collaborated on several songs while he was in town. You'll hear more about Mark and Jamal later in the episode. Then we had a really neat show in August with actor, director, and drummer Ayinde Hurrey, who staged a one-act play with an interactive music program. You just had to be there. But we do have a little excerpt for you to get a taste of what went down. During his residency at the 309 Punk Project, Ayinde helped us to understand a little about the music and dance of West Africa. These cultural practices were brought to the U.S. mostly by West African persons who were kidnapped from that continent, transported here, and enslaved. They held on to their cultural traditions, which have greatly influenced U.S. music and dance. Ayinde led the 309 audience in a call and response known as Funga Alafia, which is the backdrop for a traditional welcome dance performed by two volunteers who had been attending Ayinde's dance workshops during his stay. Here is a clip of Funga Alafia, led by Ayinde Hurrey at 309.
We're going to get our village to sing Funga. Okay, we can all sing Funga. Here we go. 5, 6, just the drummers. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Richard Guerrero is an old-school, hardcore punk guy from Corpus Christi, Texas. If you've never been to Corpus, it is kind of similar to Pensacola in a lot of ways, as a coastal Navy town on a bay, but it's also different in many ways. For one, South Texas was Mexico until the U.S. decided that it wasn't, so there is a huge Tejano influence within the punk scene in South Texas. About 10 years ago, Richard made a documentary called Subcultured about the early punk and metal scene of Corpus Christi. So we decided to bring him over to screen the film and to play a show with his band Columns at our legendary venue, the Handlebar. Here is an interview I did with Richard after the film screening at 309 in July. So, number one most mentioned band in the movie, does anyone pick up on anything? Anchor Watt? Like, I think they, are mentioned so many times, and I know they had a long run as a band, but they're kind of, around throughout the whole period, it seemed like.
So, the thing about Anchor Watt is, they were the godfathers in many, many ways.
And then they went on.
they had the success stories. Yeah. The two guitar players ended up in professional bands. And so, they started off doing the DIY thing. They were working with Devastation to do the big hall shows, and they were called the End of Summer Slam Sessions.
Okay.
And so this is 1987 when they started doing this sort of thing, and I think that kind of helped them change their sound, because their original sound was more like Bad Brains and really just Black Flag, very Greg Ginn kind of inspired guitar work. But I think playing those metal shows with Rotting Corpse and Devastation, that influence started to really kind of show up, and you hear it on their first album. We were used to the demo tape, and then when we got the album, we're like, wow, this sounds almost like a different band.
Different band.
Yeah, but
there was a lot of that evolution going on, and I love that it goes back to even the early. I know it's 85, but there's even some references to the earlier 80s and all of that, and that was. Really, that's before my time, but it's really interesting to see how that evolved, and also what was popular at the time, and how many people mentioned Metallica as an influence and that kind of thing as well. It was a big.
So the thing about Zip, the very first band mentioned in this project, they were this almost mythic kind of thing. People would mention the name, but nobody had photos, nobody had video or whatever. So I just went on this quest to find out whether this band ever existed or if there was just
you got so much, and there's photos and everything turned up.
It was very, very Facebook was the reason I was able to do that. I learned that Ron Roberts lived in Austin, and that he was the bass player for this Beatles tribute, very popular Beatles tribute band called the Eggmen. They're in Austin. And he plays to large crowds, thousands of people will go see this band because it's Austin, and they really love live music, especially when it's free. So they'll go see, the summer concert series deal. And so I tracked him down. I went to his job site. You can see the interview. That's his office. He's head of HR for
some kind of
construction. And so he's come on in, and I got an hour.
Awesome.
So
and he probably loved to be taken down memory lane by you. So we're late in coming to this. This film was released in 2013, correct? 2014. So we're 10 years, in the making as far as us learning about it and all of that. But do you want to say briefly, just kind of you went to Austin to interview Ron Roberts, you traveled, how long did you do this? And there's so many hours of footage and clips of bands, and how did you kind of compile all of that archival material?
So I was a music journalist at the time, freelance writer, who had a blog. And so what I did first was I did a 5-part blog series based on 40 surveys that I conducted through my blog. I basically, reached out to people and said, hey, fill out the survey for me. There's a lot of questions about, the hardcore shows. And so, basically, based on the responses, I created this blog series. And it was a literal history of the events. And it was very narrowly focused on hardcore punk. But what I did notice in the surveys was that everybody talked about this thrash band or that thrash band being either inspirational or they just loved them or whatever. And I'm like, I can't just, if I'm going to do a documentary, I can't just focus on the hardcore scene. It's too narrow.
Yeah.
The Corpus story is much wider than that.
Right.
So I decided to, start reaching out to people in that scene. And I was not from that scene. Our history, the Crayons history, is that, we were like Rush guys and metal guys, but we had fallen in love with punk, so we were working our way backwards. So we were going from DRI heading backwards to the dawn of punk. You know? We were traveling in the opposite direction. Everybody's going forward, right?
Yeah.
And we're the guys going the other way. We could play our instruments a little bit, and then we were like we were excited when we got a new Buzzcocks album or whatever. I mean, that was new to us.
When did the Crayons start?
We started in 87.
87.
So
okay. But you were in the scene though. Like, I mean, they even mentioned. I mean, people are obviously you're interviewing them and they're talking to you. They're like, "Well, you were at that show and you did this," and so like you were in the scene and you had that credibility. How did you choose the people to do the surveys? And were they people you knew?
Yeah, they were Facebook friends, and so, but some of them weren't. Some of them were people that they were friends of friends or whatever.
You just knew that they were important.
Yeah, I remember
to the scene.
them. I remember them from like bands and zines and whatever.
Yeah.
So I did the 40 surveys, compiled all the data, and then and this is all with no training. I mean, I was just doing this on my own, and then I wrote the 5-part series. Got a lot of really positive feedback, lots of love for it. So I'm like, I've got all this footage. We've got all these tapes and stuff. Let's make a documentary. And at first, I had no idea that I was going to do 10 years. I was thinking maybe I'll just do like, I don't know, the best parts of it or whatever. I really had no idea.
You didn't know.
I'm
how
not
it
a
was
trained filmmaker.
Together,
I had no idea that. Had I even had an inkling of the amount of work that's involved in making a movie, I probably would have never started this project.
But once you started it, you felt like people were counting on you? I mean, why did you... Because people start plenty of projects, doesn't mean they finish them. So why did you finish? Why did you...
Because
how did you do it?
Yeah, because I kept interviewing people, and like I kept telling them, I'm working on this thing, and I hope to be done in a couple years. And they're like, okay, I want to see it when it's done.
You felt like they believed in you.
I was making promises. Yeah. And I don't like to make promises that I can't keep. Like, when you started mentioning coming out here, I'm like, no. But like you were very consistent, and I was just like, okay, this is serious. It's really going to happen. Yeah. So, like I made everything. I took care of everything that I needed to take care of to get out here. And that's just kind of my nature. I just like, if we're going to go somewhere, let's do this. Or if we're going to do this, let's do it. I was very fortunate in that I worked at the community college there in Corpus. And so I was there at the dawn of YouTube. Yeah. And so I was able to convince my boss. I worked in the PR office there at the community college, and I said, "There's this new thing. It's called YouTube. I think it's going to change the way people see video." Yeah. And I showed her a little example, and you couldn't even get through a video back then. It was buffering the whole way. Yeah. And she loved it. And
so you had support, and you had resources, and some knowledge. Even if you weren't a filmmaker, you had the knowledge of that.
I took like a couple of TV classes, but of course that was broadcast TV with the big cameras and writing for TV. It's all very formal stuff. But as far as like filmmaking, like I had friends who were like very cinema kind of focused guys, and so like watching them do what they did, like our friend Luciano, a lot of his footage was in there. He actually recorded Jawbreaker playing at the house party. However, it's in such a dark space that all that you can really make out is the music, and it sounds fantastic. Yeah. I really want him to release it as like a bootleg and put it on a record or whatever, because it just sounds so good. The band was so young, 1990, first tour. But anyway, he recorded that show. He recorded the Christ on a Crutch footage with Nate Mendel. So I was around guys who were very film-oriented, and so just talking to them and all of that kind of really inspired me. And of course, what really kicked off this whole thing was we were on tour. Roger and I were on tour with our band, Laughing Stock, and we were in the Midwest. We were in Minneapolis. We had just played a show the night before, and American hardcore was in the theaters in certain markets, Minneapolis being one. And so I was like riveted, having that soundtrack, Black Flag, and Bad Brains and DK and whoever else, like all of that music at top volume, just screaming at you. And of course the rapid fire visuals, graphics, logos, and footage. And I was just like, wow, It can be done. It can be done.
So you had examples that you saw, and then you had some technical know-how from different friends and support and all of that.
You know, Decline of Western Civilization is like, you know, Punk 101. I think everybody starts there. And of course, I had my first exposure to that in like 1988 on like a very blurry 4th generation VHS tape, you know, dropouts and all of that. But it was still the movie, and I saw that. And now I, of course, on the box set, you know, like very big fan and everything. But so it started with those movies, DOA, the Sex Pistols movie, and then of course Filth and the Fury. When that came out, I saw that in the theater. So I had all of these documentary films to kind of at least give me some knowledge
what it would look like, what this product would
what
look
the
like.
history should be, how it should be represented, because I kind of see myself as more of a historian, not a filmmaker. So I really wanted to tell the historical aspect of the story, and like first this, first that, all of these things.
Yeah, and you seem like you got some of the key players for sure. Like in terms of the zine culture, it seems like there was a pretty strong. I mean, like I'm picking up on things that I know we've pulled together from Pensacola, like the zine culture really influencing, and they talked about just like the reviews of the bands and the records and how you couldn't get, you know, flip side and all that kind of stuff in Corpus, so they had to like do it internally and all of that.
Yeah, we were very big letter writers in the 80s. So like I would write to Chris Dodge of Sticky. At the time he was in Sticky, and then he would go on to start Spaz in the 90s. But yeah, like he would like, I would send him like 3 pages and he'd send me like a half page back. My friend Raul wrote everybody. He used to call like Pig Champion a poison idea and ask him what he was eating. You know, he was just that guy.
There was this pen pal history.
Yeah.
You may remember that we had this guy, Mark Gubb, stay with us here in Punksacola this summer. Mark came from Wales and wanted to research some connections between that country and our area. As a result, he wrote several songs, including this little gem, Fort Morgan, sung by our own Valerie George.
Revolution across the ocean, the bloodlines came to be. A revolutionary nation determines what you'll be. A princess footsteps in the sand, overlaid with bricks. Built on the pain of others, a racist politics. This centered earth can't always be free again. These times on earth, how things will be again. Revolving door nations fought out upon the sea. Gone within a minute, all lives of the Tecumseh. 100 years after the battery fell silent, a symbol of domination and a history of violence. This centered earth can't always be free
in an homage to ink and paper punk scenes of yesteryear and in support of our vibrant and thriving DIY music scenes, Punksacola Audiozine features a scene report. We want to hear from you. We want to know what's going on in your local live music scene. Get in touch if you want to submit a piece. Here is the Punksacola Audiozine scene report.
Are you ready? I guess. Are you ready? Do you think Pensacola has a sound?
Ooh.
And can you describe it?
I can't really say if it's like a single sound, but I mean, we've got such a fucking hardcore scene. We've got like, I don't know, I genuinely don't know how to describe all the younger bands that are popping up. It's raw, I would say, I guess, is my one word if you got an answer for it.
Confident chaos.
Ooh, that's a good one. Confident chaos.
Have you noticed that there's like a lot of shoegaze stuff?
Yeah.
Or like shoegaze influence stuff?
It's genuinely like the pipeline of like metalcore / hardcore kids that like next step up into like ambient shoegaze, like deep electronic stuff. It is very much that like where it's still got that like stank on it. It's still got like the roots of it still in there, but it's just prettier now versus like the edginess that it used to be.
I noticed it in Pensacola first, because there's like Glistener and Unicorns has like kind of like some shoegaze tendencies to it, and then like I've noticed it more in different bands, but I've noticed it in like other Florida bands coming up. Like Care was shoegaze.
Care was incredibly shoegaze. Even Oversight and Mobile, like they're a little bit more like polished, I would say.
Yeah.
But like it's definitely like that, like Slow Degrade. It's like the grungier shoegazy stuff. That's like
Wall of Fuzz.
Yeah, it just loud shoegaze. Yeah, just being an angry wall of noise. Exactly. Yeah, that seems to be kind of the thing. Is like
because I feel like Glistener's part of that.
We started off shooting for, and it's kind of evolved into its own fucking thing at this point.
Because it was like an atmospheric sort of melodic. I don't know, maybe I don't get out in the world a lot, like, and go out to other places, but I feel like there's something maybe, like, could be specific, at least to Florida, but, like, maybe to us a little bit being kind of...
I think you are right of it being, like, that, like, at least, like, shoegaze adjacent stuff, because, like...
Because when people talk about Florida, they always think, like, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, like, no one ever thinks about, like, the Panhandle.
They think of Alabama when they think of us.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We're just prettier Alabama, basically.
Can I get down on this, Elise? Do you feel like there's a sound in Pensacola?
It's too clean. That's the Pensacola sound. It's too clean.
It's too clean. It needs some dirt.
Yeah, it needs to be a little bit dirtier.
Just do shit to do shit.
It needs to be a little bit freakier.
It's getting too polished.
It's too polished. It's too polished. That's my only complaint.
Like it needs to get more rowdy and crazy. And
yeah, it needs to be a little bit like shocking. It needs to be a little bit extreme. Like not even like violent shocking, but it just needs to be like doing like really dissonant stuff and like
Exactly.
Not that some people aren't doing that, but it's too clean for my liking. It's too.
I get it.
I don't know. I mean, I think Pensacola has a lot of bands that represent a lot of different sounds.
Yeah.
It's an interesting, diverse little pocket of culture down here in the South. What's up?
Yeah.
Got noise.
We definitely got our niches.
We're fucking exhausted. We feel gross all the time. Like, I want to hear some gross music.
That's weird. I've heard people describe it as methy also. I could see it like bogged down by drug culture and fucking addiction. Yeah, humidity and addiction.
That's the sound, is humidity and addiction.
The sound is,
It sounds soggy out here.
yeah.
Pensacola has a sound. I do think Pensacola has a sound.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to describe it, but I do think that there is like a very specific, I don't know, it comes in waves. Like it depends on what part of Pensacola too.
Yeah.
Like I could tell you, if I heard a song, I could tell you if it was like Pensacola hardcore for sure.
Yeah.
I could definitely call that, I think.
Yeah, because I think like shoegaze is kind of a part of it.
Shoegaze is definitely a part of it. People like to mix the heavy with the not heavy.
Like the atmosphere.
Yeah, the atmosphere heavy thing is definitely like a big thing right now, I think.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Where do you think that comes from? Because like it was like, do you think people were like looking back and pulling out from like history and bringing it forward?
Because it could be like the fact that for a long time there only really was like, I don't know, I feel like there was only really ever a hardcore scene here.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot more of like an indie scene now that like that welcomes that.
Yeah.
So it, like I feel like a lot of people in the bands right now were in heavy bands or like were part of that and then now have like listened to other things and they're trying to combine the influences.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's more acceptable to experiment right now.
Yeah.
For some reason. Like I don't know why, but
like everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Everybody's blending everything.
Exactly.
Together.
That's something that I noticed like before we did the like Heve Bundi thing. Yeah, no, definitely. Pensacola definitely has a sound.
I think you're kind of heavy in a way that you don't think about though. Like I think you're heavy in like a contrast kind of way.
Right.
So
definitely.
that when the drop happens, because of how quiet it was before the drop.
That is kind of heavy in itself. Yeah. I get a lot of that like thought from like System of a Down, like, and just how they did dynamic shifts.
Yeah.
Like it would go from like this like beat down like punk thing to like folky like yeah, like the Armenian stuff.
Yeah.
Like it, dude, that is so crazy to me. Like, and so I feel like that's where a lot of that comes from. Is like trying to kind of capture that essence of like putting you in a lull and then dropping you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then catching you. But like it's like when you have a baby and you like, oh, like you know what I mean? Like you don't actually drop it, but you make it think that it's gonna fall or something like that, and they're like, oh god,
and
like
whoa, but then it's fun.
But it's like, fine, yeah.
Yeah, like laughing.
Yeah, it's always good.
And then there's like a wall of fuzz thing that's happening too. That's like not shoegaze. Like
definitely
I feel like
not.
Box Cutter's in that. Like I feel because Box Cut, like Elise was just talking about. I want more dirty shit.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. No, and there is something to that, like the just like aggressive and like the wall of sound, kind of thing. It's very like brash and like
screaming and like
the screaming.
Crazy.
Have you ever wondered what we can learn about the world from a punk house? This project is for those who've lived it, breathed it, loved it, or even loathed it. You hold experiences, knowledge, and wisdom that can't be found in a textbook. Your experiences gave you a mindset that helps you see the world differently. Your voice, your vision, and your story can help revolutionize a new approach to learning. We want to learn from you about how living in a punk house helped shape your perspective and contributed to the person you are today. What is the sense of camaraderie, creativity, and the doing it ourselves mentality? Whatever it was, we want to know your story. Grab your favorite tool, pen, paintbrush, keyboard, camera, and share those lessons with us. Or if you're feeling bold, get on the mic and speak your mind. Let's build a community and see how we can continue to teach and support each other and the future. It's simple. Visit riseabove.org, that's RHIZABOVE.org. Sign up, speak out, join us in creating something extraordinary. Your life can be our learning. Together, let's build a future as bold as our past. Don't just make history, make the future. At the Rise Above Project, we do it ourselves. We write our own rules. We write our own lessons. Together, we will rise above.
Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Punksacola Audiozine. We are coming to you from Pensacola, Florida, in the southeastern U.S., the traditional homeland of the Creek, Chickasaw, Choctaw, Cherokee, and Seminole peoples. We at the 309 Punk Project truly appreciate your support and efforts with us to preserve and promote punk and DIY culture and arts that inspire and enrich all of our lives. Check out our news and events, donate, get in touch, or join our distro list, all at 309punkproject.org. Y'all, I told you we had some summer. We were busy. Let's close out with Jamal STEELE performing Stand Your Ground at 309 in June.
I got a letter from the government the other day. I opened it and read you our new target of prey. See, turning our black youth away from disarray and encouraging success within the lyrics you display. See, that's a hand inside. See, your kind, we make examples out you. Can't be stupid to think Pac and Big were the fiercest rivals who became famous side notes in a historic lyrical war that caused a double homicidal conclusion. See, Pac influenced the revolution that on the surface looked like vile behavior brewing, but in reality, through all the insanity, gangs were calling truces and prisoners lived in peaceful ruin. So Big's an unknown pawn in the quad shooting. Pac blamed him. Vegas, yeah, that was our doing. Couldn't let Big get a sudden change of heart, so in LA, we split his wig apart to allow ignorance to move in. But see what you're doing? Bad move. Making known goons reconsider their course of action. Community involvement with spiritual satisfaction. Looks like someone wants a visit from my new assassin. We gave y'all ungrateful heathens a president, old president, a false sense of change. And look at the thanks we get. Cease your movement or we cause harm. No excuses, don't get brave, you've been warned. Well now, didn't realize I caused such a ruckus. I felt a sense of pride knowing that I'm wrongfully punished. So I grabbed my pen, breathed deep within, to whom it may concern, my response to your plea of rubbish must this be the cause of my downfall, being the voice that exposes why I astound it all. See, no amount of promised profit from major label conglomerates can silence this honest commentary of the lives you bury. The Matthew Henry within me cries when it's necessary. Then devises a demise that some would deem legendary. So the rise to sackcloth is heavy. Period of intense mourning was serious. Now that respects are paid, my remembrance ain't finished. See, I will be the leper who decided to rise and proclaim to simply not sit till I die. See, this is Malcolm if the Autobahn didn't allow that shotgun. Martin if he didn't meet his pain at Lorraine. I rebirth a vessel of change. Blame Zimmerman and DeSantis for igniting this flame. I go hard in the paint. 92 Shaq version. Merciless and disturbing that good old boy system. Plus, my mention, alone I never stand. I have yet revealed my hand, but the cards I play, they interesting. See, vicious henchmen, I am against them. Clowns continuing they minstrelling, I'm gonna finish them. Yeah, your money's in its infant stage, but consciously, is that where your mind state gonna stay in? While I compose, this revolution through prose can be televised thanks to these companies who control and have sucked out the soul. But for those who've forgotten, my message resonates for the ill downtrodden. See, this is for Jordan Davis, Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, Troy Davis, Antonio Martin, Michael Brown, Danye Jones, Eric Garner, Erica Garner, Sandra Bland, Rakia Boyd, Akai Gurley, Tamir Rice, John Crawford, Terrence Crutcher, Walter Scott, Freddie Gras, Nathaniel Woods, Deborah Danner, Michelle Shirley, James Skerlock, Malaysia Booker, Corinne Young Sterling, Michael Moore, Elijah Alameen, Renisha McBride, Philando Castile, Devon Bailey, Jamar Clark, Jamie Johnson, Delron Dempsey, Jasmine Barnes, Kenneth Herring, Kwame Jones, Dominique Fales, Claire Legato, Antoine Rose, Victor Steen, Dante Wright, DJ Brodus, Kiki Von Troy, Jordan Edwards, Michelle Simone, Kenan Anderson, Reginald Boston, David McAtee, B. Love, Marquise McLaughlin, Barry Godot, Rhea Milton, George Floyd, Andrea Kent, Micaiah Bryant, Khalif Browder, Ahmad Arbery, Elijah McClain, Jamel Robertson, Trayvon Pellerin, Laylene Falanco Extravaganza, my cousin Asia Jackson, Angela Carr, Vernell Bing Jr., Sean Reed, Kason Goodson Jr., Toya Salau, Salathis Melvin, Devon Gregory, Dana Martin, Regis Paquis, Charlena Lyles, Tamar Crawford, Gerard Gillian, Brianna Taylor, Tatiana Jefferson, Botham Jean, Doug Lewis, Tony Jonathan Price, Daniel Prude, Walter Wallace, Quran Milton, Dominic Harris, Joshua Brown, Ashanti Carmen, Rayshard Brooks, BJ Bradford, Thurman Blevins, Amadou Diallo, Jason Washington, Stephon Clark, Danny Ray Thomas, Oscar Kane, Brandon Bernard, and Martin Anderson watching. Over eyeso's constant. Since they ain't talking, I keep a loaded 16, blaze out often. In this life, I believe ain't no room for escape. But the OG Big Room, he taught me something great. He said either stand for something or die for nothing. Jamal STEELE, right into the real and death to the fake. Peace out.